What's going on, you guys? My name is Zach Hartley, and in this video we are talking about Mind Medicine, a Canadian-based company, ticker symbol MMED, that is actively developing some groundbreaking drugs based on the active ingredients in LSD, magic mushrooms, and ayahuasca tea. So the stock has been on an absolute tear recently, and I pointed it out back in September. I'm going to break down everything you need to know. Here we go. Alright guys, so let's dive into the Mind Med stock here. I'm currently looking at the chart on a 6-month time frame, and as you can see, it traded pretty much horizontal for the last basically 5 months until the middle of September here, where it just skyrocketed from about 40 cents all the way up to a current high right now at $1.30. Now this is pretty amazing, but what I want to do now is rerun a video for you that I posted on September 20th. So it's my weekly watch list. Now if you're not familiar with my channel, I post a weekly watch list almost every week where I highlight the stocks that I'm watching and the stocks that are on my radar for this week. This is a video from that week, and I want to point it out to you. This was posted on September 20th. So the last companies that I want to touch on for today were these two here. Now they're a little bit unique. So they're basically taking the chemical from magic mushrooms and putting it into a drug, and their stock shot up from about 40 cents to 53 cents the other day. We're basically approaching a high that is being tested now for the third time, and it was previous support for that back in May. So really interesting time period for Mind Med. I also like another company doing a very similar thing. They're called Champignon Brand. Alright, pretty cool, right? Now if you're wondering at what point did I get into Mind Med, well, no problem here. Let me pull up my account, and as you can see, I'm using my small account here, so I'm making a video series about my small account challenge. I'm currently up $151 on 3 positions, one of them being Mind Med, where I actually got in at an average price of 64 cents. You can see it right here. It's currently trading at $1.29, so I've pretty much doubled my money, and the market value on it is $387 Canadian. Now, I do have 2 other positions right now in this small account. I have a position in Red Light Holland Group, which is another basically magic mushroom company, and I also have it in Switchback Energy Acquisition Group, which is actually going to become ChargePoint Energy here in the near future. And so I've purchased into both of those companies. These are swing trades, so I will be trading out of them in the near future. However, I am going to hold on to Mind Med for a little while, and I'm going to see how far SBE and TRIP can go. I am taking a little bit of a loss on both of those positions right now, but I still feel confident in them. I'm doing okay there. So overall, the position's up $151, and I want to say that we have, where is it, $1,148 current balance. So if you watched any of the recent videos, I was down to about $800, $700. I've climbed my way back out of that. We are ahead of where we started, and we're doing okay. So I'm really looking forward to the small account. If you're interested in that, check out my other videos. But now let's dive into Mind Med. Okay, so as you can see here, right on September 18th, the volume just absolutely skyrocketed up. It was trading maybe around 200,000, 500,000 shares a day. All of a sudden, it went to 3 million shares a day and hit a high of up to 13 million shares in a day. Now, that is really impressive, and that is what I like to see, because what I think is happening here is this company has finally hit the mainstream. There hasn't been any major releases, there hasn't been any major FDA approvals, but what I think is happening is that this sector and this industry and the investors that are in this company, namely Kevin O'Leary and Bruce Linton, are finally getting the name out there, and major investors are starting to come on board, and because of that, it's starting to drive the price up a little bit. And so what we are seeing is from September 22nd here, September 18th, so the day before I posted that video, 2 days before I posted that video, the stock has just gone on an absolute tear. So let's delete the price line and let's throw in a trend line. So as you can see here, like that kind of trajectory and that kind of growth is just absolutely amazing and absolutely phenomenal. Now, the challenge here is, a guy like me, I'm already up almost 100% on this position. At what point do I get out? At what point do I lock in some of my profits? And at what point do I take the gains? Well, that is the tricky question here, and that is the challenge. What I am thinking about doing here is putting in a trailing stop loss of about 10 to 15%, so that if this stock does dip, then I get out of it, I lock in my profits, and I can get back into it at any point. What I'm also considering here is just doing a hard stop loss at about 95 cents, because I think that if this stock falls back down below $1, it could come crashing all the way back down to about 75 cents. And if it breaks that $1 level, I think that's going to be some major support. And if it breaks that, I want to be out of this stock. So I am considering both of those options for managing my risk at the moment, but I do like the company. Now, a couple things I want to point out. Okay, so the first thing is this press release here that came out on September 23rd, and it was basically Mind Med confirms no material change. So what this is saying is the management is coming out and saying nothing has changed with the company. The reason they had to come out and do that is because the stock basically doubled in about 2 days, and everybody's going, what the heck just happened here? And so everybody goes to management and everybody goes to the exchange and says, what am I missing? What's going on here? And that is what forced this company to actually release a full-on news press release that says nothing has changed. And so what's interesting here is it's not the company that's driving up this stock right now. It's other people finding out about the company, finding out about the space, and trying to put their money into it because there was no earnings, there was no release, there was no news, there was nothing at the time that basically triggered that absolute momentum move, except for big money starting to come into this stock and driving the price up. And that is what I think is happening here, because all the people that missed out on cannabis or got burned on cannabis are probably seeing this as the next gold rush and they want in. And that's what I think is happening here, and that's the major driver behind this stock. Now, I do think there's major potential in this stock. We already know that the compounds they're working with that are within LSD, that are within magic mushrooms, that are within ayahuasca tea, these are extremely powerful compounds that have drastic effects on the human body. And because of that, all we need to do now is just control them. And so if these guys can control them and put them into a doctor prescribable format that can actually help and make an impact on people's lives, the market opportunity here is absolutely phenomenally large, and it's such an amazing opportunity. However, there has been no news that has given these guys the strategic ability to capitalize on that better than anybody else that has driven the stock up, other than just big money and investors coming into it. At least that's my opinion. So if you disagree with that, or you think there's other news coming out, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to learn about it and do more research on it. Please be nice about it. You don't need to roast me on it, but I do want to learn more about it. That is at least what I think is happening. And if I'm wrong, I want to learn more about it. So the next thing I want to point out is their financials. Now, one of the reasons that I like this company is because they have a very solid cash position. They have a lot of backing, and they have about 4 different drugs that are going through the trial phases right now in order to get FDA approval. And so because they have so many drugs, they need some runway. And if one doesn't work, they got to go to number 2, they got to go to number 3. They're going to need some cash in the bank. And I really like this company because they have about $24 million of cash in the bank, and they only have about $2 million worth of liabilities. So their current ratio is absolutely phenomenal. They've got tons of runway to push as many drugs as they need to through the FDA pipeline and the approval pipeline, and they've got some runway. So if number 1 doesn't work, but number 2 or number 3 does, well, we're still going to be successful, at least on this trade, and we're already doing pretty good on it. So I really like to see that because it gives me a little bit more confidence in the company. When I look at their balance sheet, it looks good. Obviously, they have no revenue yet because they don't have FDA approvals and they don't have a drug in market. So we are extremely early. MindMed is a very risky stock. We are going to see extreme volatility on this stock price over the next week or two. These stock prices could move by 10-20% in a day, absolutely no problem. And if you look at MindMed, it actually moved by 12.4% today. Now, I am trading the Canadian stock, so it's a little bit different than this one. It is available in both Canada and the US. I trade the Canadian one because it has a little bit better tax advantages for me, but it really doesn't matter which one you trade. They're both moving almost identical. Now, the last thing that I want to point out for you is that I highlighted this company back on September 20th on its first big green day. And so if you guys are interested in seeing more companies like that, you want more tips on which stocks to buy or at least which stocks to look at, then you need to subscribe to this channel. You need to like this video, and I promise to do a couple more weekly watch lists for you and give them out totally free. If you're also interested in seeing exactly which stocks I buy and when I buy them, you should sign up for my Discord chat, and there's a link below. It costs $5 a month, and I just started it. It's a little slow right now. We are just getting it up and running, but I would love to have you in there. It is all of my technical analysis on a daily basis, as well as my fundamental analysis and my live trade. So I'd love to have you in there. And if you get any value out of this video, please hit that like button. We'll see you guys later. Good luck trading.